Hello guys, welcome. My name is Kinyanjui Frederick. I'm a occupational therapist here at Agape Special Center. So today we are going to have a tour and an orientation of our therapy room. We are going to explain to you and show to you the kind of equipments that we have and how we normally use them to make sure that we achieve the best from our kids. So maybe if you can start from this corner. As you can see, this is a pediatric contoured therapy bench. Yeah, we normally use it for clients with CP who have not achieved sitting. Apart from sitting training, we also train it for pelvic control. Apart from pelvic control, we usually normally use it for positioning. Yes, then here we have a couch setup or a mat setup. So this is where we do our therapeutic exercises here, the stretching and positioning. Yeah, to make sure that we have the proper body alignments. So we do that activity here. So here we have this, it's called a roller. So this is used for alignment of the body muscles and training for trunk control. Then here we have a wedge. Though this is a small wedge, you're going to see a bigger wedge. So we normally use it for trunk control. Yes, trunk control. Apart from trunk control, for head control for those kids who have not achieved a sitting. So and head control. Then here we have a sitting aid. So this sitting aid, we normally use it to train on sitting. It's just from the word sitting aid. We position the child here. This is supposed to be a block to prevent the child from falling. Then we cover it here. Then the child can be able to sit there and strengthen the muscles of the trunk. Then we have this equipment. It's called a beam, yeah, or a standing aid, where we normally use to train the children who have impaired balances. Yeah, when you stand with the child here, then you try and maintain a balance with the child, making sure that the coordination and the balance of the child during walking is maintained. So we have this bed, a therapeutic bed, where we normally do the therapy when we feel like we are getting tired. We as therapists, we ought to have a bed for therapy. We have 2 pairs. Then this is just the same as I told you, a mat setup. So this was the bigger version of the wedge that we normally use. Remember, I had to explain how we use it for trunk control and head control. Then you have a roller, just as I explained initially. This is now a bigger roller. This roller is used for bigger kids. I explained for trunk control and muscle alignment of the trunk. Then apart from this, we also have this equipment here. It's called a standing aid. So this standing aid is used for total weight bearing of the child. You position the child in this item, then the child can be able to have a total weight bearing, so that to enable walking. So apart from strengthening and standing here, we also train on muscle endurance and muscle strength to make sure that the child can be able to stand for long hours and walking for longer period. Then here we have a balance board. We have a parallel balance beam. So this is also used for training on balance and proper foot alignment during walking, as you can see. So there are some children who have issues with their balance and coordination. So this is the equipment that is going to help us on integrating the same. So those are majorly the equipments that you normally use to make sure that we support these children with cerebral palsy. Then on this other corner, we are going now to talk about the equipments that we normally use to support the kids with sensory integration difficulties. So this is our sensory integration space. So we can start with this ball. So this ball, we normally use it to maintain to help the kids who need some sensory inputs so that they can be fully regulated. So there are some various activities that can be done here. Yeah, for example, this therapy ball can be used as a bouncing equipment, where we want to support that kid who has tendency of being hyper. So there are different versions of the ball. There is this non-spiked one, and we also have this spiked one. So this spiked one has a different texture. So because these are sensory corner, you will find that there's some children who avoid textures of different things, who prefer different textures. So there's a child who will prefer softer textures, and there's the one who will prefer a rougher. Tanisha. So this is a spiked ball, yeah, for supporting the kids who have some textural preferences. There's one who will prefer softer, there's one who will prefer rougher surfaces. Then here this is our table where we do our table activities. For example, training them on cognitive skills. Yeah, we do our activities from here, from this point. Activities to support with eye-hand coordination, activities to support with fine motor skills, activities to support on concentration building. We normally do them from this point. Then we also have our pit, our sensory pit. So our sensory pit has balls, where these balls we usually play with the balls, where the child who is hyper or wants to feel regulated can just put them in this sensory pit, then they just interact with the balls. So this sensory pit can be either soft or dry, rather wet or dry, so as we have preferred for going with a dry sensory pit. So that is it. Then we also have this music is also part of occupational therapy, because as an occupational therapist my role is to enable independence. There are some children who can prefer having music or integrating music into their day-to-day activities. So this is a drum that's normally used on the same. So apart from using it as an item of training arts, music arts, there are some kids who usually prefer certain voices so that they can feel certain sounds, so they can feel regulated. So this provides them with the input that they need to, so that they can be able to come and feel more regulated. So thank you so much, guys. We welcome you here at Agape Special Center. As you can see, we are well resourced. We have the necessary equipment to support the child's needs. You're welcome.